Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Hello. Should start with a nigun. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, once again. First, if you were on the mission that went to Israel, please rise at your place if you would. I'd just like to acknowledge those who went on a variety of different missions, whether it's with us or I want to thank you for being here today. And thank you for coming. And I also want to thank you for being gracious in making a little space for our guests. This was a last-minute change to the plan. We were so excited to hear that there are members of this delegation who are coming from Israel, and so we want to hear their stories, their firsthand experience, and then we will share, a few people, given time permitting, will share our second-hand experience, which was us going to hear from the stories of people in Israel. I'm really grateful to Greater Metro West Federation and for the Global Partnership Program. Tell me your full name. Yes? Martin Yaffe, who's here from Greater Metro West Federation. He's responsible for this program, which has brought our delegates here from Israel to share. I want to thank Rachel Scherzer and Liz Liss and Stephanie and Alan Bonder, who are hosting our delegates from Israel. These are not official Israeli representatives. Nobody here is an official from the Israeli government. Nobody's an official spokesperson. But they were asked and supported by Metro West Federation to come and talk about their experience so that we could learn, so that we could feel connected to each other. And I'm so grateful that they're willing to be here and talk with us today. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Rachel, who's going to introduce them, and then they're going to come up and share their stories. I know there are seats up here, but I think they'll be more comfortable down there. And Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Lucas. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's beautiful to see everybody. Very happy to be back together after my 3-year stint in Toronto. So for many of you, I'm seeing you for the first time back officially in Greater Metro West and at Agudath. So obviously our honor. And again, thank you to Rabbi Lucas and everyone who is graciously shifting their plan for our day today, but we really have a very, very special and unique opportunity to hear directly from our Israeli counterparts who are living in our communities, our Greater Metro West partnership communities. Everybody who's here today is from a different place within Israel and one of our partnership communities who all have, as we learned in Israel, a very unique story to share with a common thread, obviously, that weaves through everybody's story. So today, we have 4 wonderful delegates that are here, and I just want to share a little bit about their bios, and then I'm going to be done, and we're going to hear from them and have the opportunity to hear from those within our community that were able and blessed to be able to go on a mission, and then Martin will just close us out for our day, and that's sort of where we are. So, and this is not the order in which anybody needs to speak, but I'm just going to start with the top of my paper. So we have with us today Mufid Marie. Am I saying it right? Mufid Marie is actually from our Horfesh community, which is a little bit of a different community than what some of our other partnership communities are, so he may share a little bit about that. But his background is that he's a former member of Knesset, a colonel reserve in the IDF, former mayor of the Horfesh Local Council, and he previously served as the head of the Druze Municipalities Forum. He is the Tel Hai College Board Chair, and he holds a bachelor's degree in Middle Eastern History and a master's degree in Political Science and Security Studies from Haifa University. Has a fair bit of knowledge under his belt, I'd say. He's married to Shadaya, with whom he has 4 beautiful children. And since October 7th, Mufid has been preparing first responders from both Horfesh and neighboring villages. He supports bereaved families and speaks in the Israeli and Arab media about Israel's security situation. So very, very unique opportunity to hear from him. We also have with us today Sagit Levi Gelfarb, who is from our partnership community in Kibbutz Erez, right on the border, like Nahal Oz that Rabbi Lucas spoke about earlier today. She was born in Sderot, another community that is frequently targeted by Gaza and the terrorists, and is currently a member, as I said, of Kibbutz Erez. She's married to Yaakov, and together they have 4 beautiful children, young adult children. She works as the finance manager for the agricultural cooperative of Kibbutz Or Haner and Kibbutz Lahav. I'm sure I'm killing that. She serves as the chair of the Kibbutz emergency team. And since October 7th, Sagit has been working tirelessly to help her beloved community of Kibbutz Erez recover. And despite the loss and suffering in the past 4 months, Sagit feels a strong need to invest every possible resource in rebuilding for a better future in Israel. We have Tal Sabani, who I had the pleasure of meeting in my Peoplehood program a few years ago. She is a resident of Moshav Gilat, which is one of the moshavs in Merchavim, which is part of our partnership. She's a graduate, as I said, of the 5th cohort of Peoplehood. She's a former member of the Ofakim Merchavim Joint Steering Committee and a former mentor for the Youth Futures program of Ofakim, so dedicated to the Youth Futures program. She currently works as the Director of Community Resilience and Social Projects for Sdot Negev Regional Council. And as part of her work, she assists residents from the area who have been evacuated from their homes. Her unique story on October 7th is that Tal and her family suffered a tremendous loss when their beloved nephew, Naor Sabani, was killed. Naor served as a soldier in the Golani Brigade right on the line and was protecting Nahal Oz, the kibbutz that we actually had the opportunity to visit, at their army post during the attacks. He was 21 years old. And Tal and her family are really dedicated to bringing the memory, to Naor's memory, to anybody and everybody all over the world in any possible way. And then finally, our 4th presenter, or family member, is Kohi Abu Haron. All right, and she is from Ofakim, another partnership community that was one of the cities that was really devastated, I think with almost 50 people who were killed on October 7th. She was born and raised in Ofakim. Her son is named Ido, and she works as a coordinator of the Living Bridges program of the Ofakim Merchavim Partnerships in 2000. She's responsible for public relations at the Jacob Blaustein Institute for Desert Research at Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Unfortunately, on October 7th, tragedy struck Kohi's family in, unfortunately, a few different ways. Her beloved younger brother, who responded to the sounds of gunshots in the neighborhoods of Ofakim, went out to heroically try to stop the terrorists, and unfortunately was killed during that moment, leaving his wife and children behind. And then we also learned that 10 days after that, her uncle and nephew were also killed. They were missing initially. We actually heard this story from the Givati Brigade, a woman, Yudit, who mentioned that her her brother and her father were killed as they were heading out for a fishing trip. And by fate bringing it together, I actually met Kohi again, and it was the same story and the same family. So chilling way in which our communities, come together in so many different ways, the Jews around the world. So she's here to share their memory and their story, as is everybody else. So I don't know who wants to go first. I'm going to, awesome. Mufid, if you wouldn't mind just standing up here so everyone can hear your wonderful words, and we'll just move it along that way. Thank you, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, v'toda rabah. Thank you, everybody. I don't need to speak about me. You do it good, better than me. I want to speak about the north, about the Horfish village, the north, the border with Lebanon, the mini war that in Lebanon. So I am the chairman of Tel Chai Technological College, but my college is closed. It's behind Kiryat Shmona. Somebody know Israel here, yeah? And no study in my college, so it's closed now. Horfish village is the north Druze village. It's 2 kilometers from the border of Lebanon. At the October, 8 October, not 9, not 7 October. 7 October it was in Gaza. The Hamas started the war in the Gaza. I am talking about Hezbollah, about Lebanon, that attacked us in the north, in all the cities, all the towns, all the kibbutzim, moshavim in the Tzafon at 8 October. About the Druze, I don't know, not now to speak about the Druze and the relations with the Jewish. We can do it another time. I want to tell you what happened in the north, in the border with Lebanon. Up to now, it's more than 2,300 missiles fired from Lebanon, Hezbollah to the north. 1,900 of unmanned aerial from Lebanon, from Syria, from Yemen, and from Iraq. More than 15 houses bombed from the Lebanon. Hezbollah do it. More than 10 soldiers was killed and 8 civilians was killed. The Druze, all the Druze in the north of Israel, 8 commanders, big commanders in the army was killed at 7 October to now in this war. Thousands of civilians, they left their homes and towns and staying in hotels in central of Israel for more than 4 months. No normal education in all the towns in the north, not only in Horfish. No business, factories is closed, no tourism come to Israel, to the north. The most of the men of Horfish and the other village is go to the army. There are retired, all the people, all the men. I want to see you. We get your help in Horfish and the other moshavim and kibbutzim. It's very important what you do for us. Your help for us can make us ready to the big war in the north, in Lebanon. It will be come. Maybe March, maybe April, but the next 2 months, maybe we are going to big war with Lebanon and Hezbollah. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very hard for us. So I want to finish and really to thank you about your stand with us, about your help. Your help is very, very important for us in this time.
Shabbat Shalom. First of all, I want to thank Rachel for your host. My first time here was at 2019. I was at Peoplehood 5 program, so I'm here again and it's very excited. My name is Tal Siboni. I live in Moshav Gilat. which belongs to Merchavim Regional Council. And I'm here today to share my personal story. In the council where I live, we have lost 15 residents, 5 of them from Gilat. Aryeh Uzan and his son Eli Uzan. I need to breathe. Aviv Hajjaj, Shachar Krief, and Naor Siboni. And this is my personal story. Naor Siboni, my nephew, the son of my brother Dakar and my sister-in-law Tzila, a brother to Dor, Rotem, and Elia, an Israeli hero, a soldier in the Golani Brigade, who died in the heroic battle of October 7 at Nahal Oz, outpost located 800 meters from the Gaza border, when he is only 20 years old. His friend says that Naor fought throughout the surprising attack of Hamas that morning. In his death, he saved many soldiers and citizens. He did a lot for others in his life, and so he also met his death while protecting others. For 4 days, our family and friends searched for Naor. 4 days of waiting and hoping a good news. But unfortunately, after 4 very difficult days, we were told that Naor died during the attack by Hamas terrorists. My relationship with Naor was special and strong. Naor and I lived next to each other from the day he was born, and I was privileged to be a significant part of his life as he was in mine. I miss him every day. I miss our simple moments together, the shared meals on Shabbat, our conversation late into the night, the moments when we will just sit and laugh about silly things. Since our tragedy, we have promised to commemorate Naor and share his heroic story wherever we go. I am grateful that I got the opportunity to come here and share Naor's story. Naor believed and lived according to commandment, ואהבת לרעך כמוך. You know what is ואהבת לרעך, which means love your neighbor as yourself. And this is my message to you today. I hope the Jewish all over the world will be united in a common heritage and solidarity. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Shabbat Shalom. My name is Sagit, I'm from Kibbutz Erez. Okay now? Thank you. Okay, I speak loud. Reality, as we know her, got a sharp turn on October 7. Saturday morning, I found myself facing a cruel terror. That morning started at 6:27 a.m. when I hear a red alarm in the alert siren in our neighborhood Moshav, Netiv Asara. In the reality we lived in the past 23 years, it was not a rare event, and usually we don't need to respond in any way. That morning was different. I had gut feeling that something bad is happening, and I jumped out of the bed, sent a message to the emergency team members, checking in the kibbutz. I took the key on the command room, and once I opened the house door, I heard from distance gunfire shooting. I sent out an urgent message to the entire Erez community to stay at home, lock all the doors and windows, and get immediately into the safe room until further notice. The emergency squad team arrived within minutes to the command room, which is a big shelter with radio and camera devices from each of them can control emergency situation. They are getting their bulletproof vests and radio and went out to get ready to the position waiting for the terrorists. The shooting sounds became very close. I reached out to the IDF asking and literally begging them for rescue and help. I couldn't hear the team members asking for help. At the same time, we realized that there is about 30 Hamas terrorists with heavy machine guns trying to invade the kibbutz. About half an hour while shooting continues by the kibbutz gate, Danny is a member of the squad team, walked in the command room. He's severely hurt after being shot in the neck. He's holding his throat, trying to stop the bleeding. Our first aid kit is not enough, and we realize that we need help. We call Lilia, a nurse from the kibbutz, and ask her to leave his little daughter in her safe room and come under fire to the command room to help us to save Danny. Beside Danny, we have 3 more casualties. One of them is Amir. His mother called me and saying that she cannot reach him on the phone. And she said that she wants to tell me a secret. Shahar is pregnant with their first child. That moment, I know that Amir was critically hurt. I also know that Orna and Shahar, his wife, supposed to receive the worst news and sending her to Shahar, his wife, and sending a nurse to be with her when she gets the worst news. All these times, when I'm in the command room, I continue calling the IDF and the Magen David Adom, asking for help. It takes forever to respond, and they said that we'll send in an ambulance, which never really get us. About half an hour, an RPG missiles just hit one of the houses in the neighborhood, closed the gate, where the family of 2 parents and 2 teenagers live. With them are injured from the emergency squad, and they're all making their way to the command room. At this point, where several injured people are in the room, I'm calling Liora, an operation nurse, also in the kibbutz member, and ask for help. I call again to the Magen David Adom, and once I never forget, what did they answer for me? We don't have an approval to get to the kibbutz. And Liora, on that moment, we realized their life is dependent on us, and Liora decided to drive them to the hospital by a private car. All this while, the team trying to calm down 100 scared families, or search this safe room and getting travel news and updates about friends and family members living in near the kibbutzim and being kidnapped, shot, or in some cases already dead. I never dreamed or imagined I find myself in this situation, managing entire scene of rescue, the fighting innocent civilians who only wished to live their lives and found themselves in the wrong place, in the wrong time. Reality feels like promo for a horror movie, and we, the civilians, are the role of the heroes or the victim, depends on the perspective I choose. I don't have the ability to go back on time to change the past. I'm looking the future of my children, my community, my people, and I worried, but I don't give up my home. And I ask you, how can we fix something that was broken for so many years? A silent fracture that turned into the massacre and feeling of loss that still resides with us every day. Since Shabbat October 7, we stayed in Mitzpe Ramon Yot Hostel. The government wants us to go back home. And we are asking to go back home to the kibbutz. But how can I look in my children's eyes, asking me, why did we ever live if we return to the same reality? What was the purpose of being away from home for so long? When I think about returning to routine life of safe room and alarms, I cannot prevent myself from thinking that this massacre can repeat again. A month ago, I visited the underground tunnel. That tunnel, we've known about this for a while. What guarantee I have, there is no another tunnel in our area. Erez community was considered itself strong until October 6th. It's getting weaker in the past 4 months. The challenge of being far away from home, from our routine life, is driving family to live and find themselves in other places, trying to find quiet and safe place, try to call it home. We are strong and we have patience despite all the challenges to wait until the IDF complete its mission and destroy all of Hamas in Gaza. It is important for me that you will continue to support us by sharing our story. Just a second. Where is my... Especially the story of October 7. And please continue to make a noise until all the hostages are coming back. I want to thank the Federation who brought us here to tell you our story. I want to thank Liz and John Liz to having me and to host me. And I want to thank to you about listening my story. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Koche Abu Aron, and I'm from Ofakim. About 20 years ago, I hosted a delegation that came from Agudat Israel with Lee Gladstein in Ofakim. So at the time that I was a Living Bridge coordinator, that I remembered everything today. But I'm here today to tell you about my younger brother, Roni. For many years, Ofakim, when you entered Ofakim, you saw a sign, City of People, and everything changed. On October 7, Ofakim was inflated by 2 trunks of 20 terrorists that put their trunks, they parked their trunks, took out all their weapons, and entered the Goren Street. Inside the Goren Street, they started shooting and slaughtering people and passing house by house, and everyone that actually ran from, like there were sirens, everyone that went for the outside shelter. This is a neighborhood that doesn't have inside shelters, but outside shelters. Whoever ran to the outside shelter was shot by the terrorists. My brother Roni, who was 39 years old, is a detective in Raat police station. He went, while the sirens, he stood outside his house with his wife, and they looked at the sky to see the missiles, something that we usually done in Ofakim. We have the Iron Dome, and so we have missiles, and we are seeing it in the sky. Suddenly, he heard gunshots. He immediately called the police station in Raat, and they told him that Ofakim was invention by terrorists. He was alone at home with his wife. The kids were with me in a different neighborhood. He changed his clothes, talked to his neighbors. We have a final record of the talk that he had with his neighbor, telling him, you are married, you have kids, stay at home, and don't open to anyone. Roni took his pistol and started running through the Tamar Street. The Tamar Street is also people went outside to the shelters. He shouted at them and told them, go inside the houses, close your door, close your windows, and don't open to anyone unless they talk Hebrew. While running, he met with Rachel, the famous Rachel with the story of the hostage. She and her husband went outside to one of the shelters, and he told them to go inside the house. Unfortunately, from the roundabout at the same street, terrorists came and shot my brother. But Ronnie was one of 14 heroes in Ofakim that actually went outside their house, their safe place, with pistols. And the terrorists came with grenades, with RPG missiles, and with a lot of semi-automatic weapons, and they fought them. The fact that they were the first line that actually fought the terrorists stopped the slaughter that started at the Goren Street in the Tamar Street. The terrorists entered Rachel's house and took her as a hostage. But on that day, we lost 14 people. 14 people that were the heroes. Among them, there was 2 brothers, Ariel and Roy. There was a father and his son, Moshe and Eliad. My brother and another 4 policemen. One of them is very famous in this community, Igal Iluz. Probably you heard about him. Totally, Ofakim lost on October 7, 51 people. 51 people died in one day in Ofakim. We doubled the number of people that we need to memorize in Yom HaZikaron. But thanks to them, we changed the name of our city to a city of heroes, because thanks to those 14 people that went outside, we were saved. The whole southern Negev was saved thanks to the courage of 61 police that were the first line. We call them the blue line that actually saved the Negev. 61 policemen that left 94 orphans. Ronnie left 3 kids and a wife, and 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and 3 sisters and 1 brother. And my mom, although she's like crying all the time, I tell her that we will always be 5. Thank you.
It doesn't get any easier, even after hearing these stories over and over. Mufid, Tal, Sagit, Kochi, why are they here? 2.5 decades ago, the Jewish Agency for Israel decided that it was a smart idea to look at the map of Israel and divide each area of Israel so that the federations of North America could have a direct relationship and responsibility towards each place in Israel. All the federations across the country and in Canada, Mexico also, have a region in Israel with whom they have a special connection. Some federations might have 2. The Federation of Greater Metro West has 5. 5 partner communities, that's the technical term, partner communities. The key word there is partners. We don't just send grants to those areas to support their development. We help with their English learning, we help with their economic development, but that's the smallest portion of what we do. What we truly do, what makes us a special community, are the programs that we run together. The people to people. You heard about Peoplehood. Peoplehood is a program of cohorts between Metro West people and Israelis that meet at each other's homes. We don't bring them to a hotel. We are their families. You heard about the concept of a living bridge. Living bridges are all these programs. Right now, 8 programs for teenagers, young adults that connect our community of Greater Metro West with our 5 partner communities in Israel. That's why they are here. They're not here as spokespeople from the IDF or from Magen David Adom. They're not professional spokespeople. They are, do you know what? Family. They're mishpacha. And in no community is that more apparent than in Agurath. Out of the 8 people that we brought, plus the head of our delegation, 4 of them are staying in your homes. So when people talk about this being a federation program, it's not a federation program. It's our collective program. It's your program. And we thank you for that, because we could not make this possible without the community rising. And speaking of rising, I'll close with a couple of comments. October 7th brought to all the Jewish world, locally, in Israel, and around the world, a sense of lack of security. College students, businesses, you know what I'm talking about. But in no place is that sense of lack of security more apparent than in Israel, where people are fearful to go back to their homes only 4 months after the massacre. So we're asking, as the organized community, for everybody to step up. And stepping up can mean different things. It can mean running a delegation that goes to Israel from your synagogue. It can mean hosting our friends in Israel. What our federation has done the last 4 months includes 5 solidarity and volunteer missions from the federation itself. It includes creating an emergency campaign to be able to raise money on top of the annual campaign to support the emergency needs of our 5 partner communities. Mufid was alluding to that. On October 8th, we sent money for funerals to Ofakim. On October 10th, we sent funding for the tents where they needed to sit Shiva. And every week, a small team of lay leaders that represent all of us, and professionals, myself included, have been trying to do the best that we can to make sure that those emergency funds are being sent and used in the best possible way, from refurbishing the safe homes in the communities to making sure there's the mental health and therapeutic support, because they're not in PTSD. There is no P. This is not post. They're still in the middle of it. We have supported with security, with teens and families that need the support. 35 buses from our Greater Metro West community went to Washington to claim for all those that are right now in Gaza to come back to their homes, to ask for the support of the American government. Whatever you can do, this is the time. I hear those stories of our parents and grandparents during the wars in the 40s and the 60s and the 70s, what they were doing. This is our time. And the incredible thing is that we have our guests here while the war is still happening. We're not talking about things in past tense. It's in present tense. So in present tense, everything that you have done, they're incredibly grateful for. I was sitting with them during services. I can't count how many people came and said, oh, I went to Kibbutz Erez once. I went to Ofakim once. That is the power of the community that we have built. I want to thank Rabbi Lucas and the entire community for hosting, for creating a space for them. And I encourage all of you, whatever it is that you think is important to do it. But most importantly, share their stories. They came here on a mission. Let's make that mission count. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much.
Chaverim, toda. Thank you for being with us. I'd like for us to say Kaddish for those who you mentioned here today, and to honor their memories, and so that we honor them and sanctify the sacrifice that they made. So if everyone could please rise with me, and we'll hold them in our hearts. Would you tell us their names one more time? Roni, Naor ben Sila, Naor Siboni ben Sila, Roni ben Alex. And we're holding all those in our hearts. Do you want to mention anyone in particular? Yaron ben Rachel. Anyone else you want to mention who are holding? Yeah. Okay. We remember them, we hold them all in our hearts, and we say Kaddish together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imramen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom, b'mamav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. And because we're not only honoring those who sacrifice, but also hoping for a better future, we'll sing Hatikva together. Kol od balevav penima, nefesh Yehudi homiyah. Ufate mizrach kadima, hain letzion tzofia. Od lo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot chofshim. Be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim Liot Am Chofshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Before we conclude, you can be seated. I did want to give an opportunity. I don't know if those who went on the missions want to share, but I asked them if they wanted to share a snapshot, a thought, a memory. And so, microphone is open. If there's anybody who wants to, you are more than welcome. Debbie, come on up.
When we were with one of the survivors of Nachal Oz, she said, and this was her opinion, that when she was in her safe room for more than 24 hours, the government of Israel failed her, the army of Israel failed her, but Am Yisrael saved them, the people of Israel, the nation of Israel, including the Druze. And we here are all Am Yisrael. The amount of, the way that the country has pulled together is unbelievable. Second thing, after seeing all that we saw, which will always change me, when I was at the Kotel on Friday night after I did my usual prayers, I prayed that the people of Israel would have the strength and the resilience to go forward, to have a good life. My parents are survivors. My dad lost his parents, his sisters, his grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. But he went on to have a good life because he had support from other people. The minute I took my hands off the wall, there was a group of soldiers, women soldiers on one side, men on the other, dancing and singing Am Yisrael Chai. They didn't need my prayers. It's built into the DNA of Israel that they are resilient. And the last thing is, it was heartbreaking, and I needed my spiritual leader there. And in our community, you have an opportunity to go with Susan soon, end of March, beginning of April. I can't tell you how strongly I recommend the trip and how important it is to go with someone that can help you to see and to understand all that we've seen. And thank you for sharing your stories.
So we all choose to go to Israel for different reasons, and so many of us felt the need to go. And I was able to go on a Hadassah mission, and I also get to see how my worlds collide. So I didn't want to leave without an opportunity to see my family in Ofakim. So on the last day I was there, I called Michal, who is the head of our projects in Israel, and I told her I wanted to come. They arranged for me to go, and I started off there with a balloon launch for one of the Chatufim, a hostage that is from Ofakim. And then I went around to all of the different places. Daniel Uri, who works for the municipality now, he was on my peoplehood, and he's like my brother. And my daughter made Aliyah, and when she's been in Ofakim, he introduces her as his niece because he sees me as his sister. And it's really important to build those person-to-person connections. And something we did here for anyone who had a connection is right after October 7th, our Global Connections decided they wanted to make further connections between anyone in Israel who was part of our partnerships and here. So they asked people if you felt comfortable using WhatsApp to communicate with names of people who had been working with us in our communities. So one of the random names I got was this name, Ayal Asulin. He lives in Ofakim. And he was one of those people who actually wrote back, and we started conversations getting to know each other. So I said to our staff in Israel, I really want to meet him because we've really been talking to each other. And he is an artist, and he has done many sculptures around the city of Ofakim. And what he was asked to do after October 7th was to recreate the memorial in Ofakim to all who were lost and adding the names of the 50 plus who were lost on October 7th. So I got to see that memorial is in the library where I've been many times, and it was just incredible. But another gift he was asked to give to the community was thought up by Rafi, who's here's wife, to create a memorial by the cemetery and plant trees for all those who were lost. And he created the sculptures that he called them stumps, but they're like trees that are cut with the names and the information of all those people. And he showed them to us in his workshop, and then he sent us a picture when they were able to unveil it. I think it was on Tu B'Shvat, so they did that. And it shows how meaningful it is to be connected and feel like you know these people, and they are our family. Am Yisrael, we're all one. So I encourage you on whatever trips you go to just reach out to see if you can get to any of our communities, Ofakim, Merchavim, Arad, Erez, Horfesh. They're our family. They want us to go. They want to host us. They want to see us because they appreciate what we do. And I think our shul has such a gift because so many people are so connected, and we're just going to keep on building that. So I just wanted to share that.
Hi, we are Victoria and Vlad Shpilsky. We're from Short Hills, and we wanted to thank you for inviting us today, and thank you for hearing your stories, and thank you to Rabbi Lucas for taking us on the Solidarity trip. We were last-minute addition, so we are very grateful, and just wanted to share a few reflections of the trip.
Sure. It was a difficult trip. Sometimes it felt like a continuous Shiva call. And we're bringing back memories of incredible tragedy, and at the same time incredible heroism, unity, resilience of people of Israel, and also memories of hope and solidarity. So one memory we'd like to share is a difficult one. We walked through a field of Nova Music Festival where 365 beautiful young people were senselessly murdered. And you could still see places where they fell, and it almost felt like walking through the field near Auschwitz, where the ovens were still warm. And with a heavy heart, we made our way to a place where new trees were being planted to commemorate people that were murdered there. And there was a group of young kids that came to honor them. And what made it a little bit easier to bear was the fact that every minute or so you could hear a loud boom and the earth shook. That was an IDF artillery battery that was stationed next door, and it was doing what it was supposed to do, defending our people. And we realized that we're no longer victims on call, and although Israelis became a bit more like Jews on October 7th, we also became much more like Israelis. And through our unity, we are confident we'll prevail. We encourage you to go to bear witness and to support our brothers in Israel. And thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mindy Opper. I went to Israel with Young Judea. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Young Judea is a Zionist youth organization that was originally started by Hadassah. I've actually heard your brother's story. I met with a police officer from Rahat. He was Bedouin and told us about his colleagues. So there is such a small world Jewish geography piece to it. So he's being honored in lots of different ways. The perspective that I wanted to share is a little different. I have kids who are in high school and middle school, and my kids go to the same Zionist camp that I went when I was little, Camp Judea in North Carolina. And I've had some time to reflect about the opportunities that I want to provide to them. I know that Stephanie talked about the connections with Israelis. And when we were there, we met with young Judeans who are doing amazing things, who are part of the fabric of Israeli society. We met with a young Judean who was a hostage negotiator. We've met with young Judeans who are part of the community that are providing services in the same way that you are, both formal and informally. And I just want to put a tickle in your brain and in your heart for, as we think of ways that we can support Israelis, what are ways that we can create informal and formal educational opportunities for our children that will make them connected, so that they don't wake up on October 7th and feel confusion or disconnection, that they feel that they know people there and that it's their family there, and that they feel like this affects them also. And it was striking when I was there. Every Israeli I met said, "How are you doing? We're worried about you in America." And I just want you to know in Israel that in the same way that you all have risen to help each other, we are doing that here in America too. And I think that it's a real opportunity for us to figure out how we can create a support system to create Zionists in our own children, and maybe people even in their 30s and 40s who didn't really know that they were. So thank you for telling your story and coming here. I wanted to let you know that the stories go far and wide. The final thing I'll leave you with in reference to having kids around that age is I went to Har Herzl in Jerusalem, which is a military cemetery. I've been there a lot of times. It feels like you're going for a history lesson usually when you go. But it was different this time because you were going and seeing gravestones that are from December, October, only from a few months ago, 18, 19 years old. There's a couple 40-year-olds in there. And as we were there, an army troop came through, and we're all so overwhelmed that the loss of life, and each person has a family, and you guys have so perfectly reflected that. Put faces with names and faces with loss. And they circled around us, and these kids were 18 years old. And I felt like they were protecting us as well, being in Israel and being in the army. And Israelis are able to hold two separate things that are opposite at the same time. And you heard a little bit about this, feeling so betrayed by the IDF. Where is the IDF? Where was the IDF? And at the same time, being so supportive of the IDF. Their kids are in the IDF. Their kids are in Gaza. And I just want you to know I found that to be profound, and I have a lot of respect for that. And it's a lot. And anytime you feel, I don't know if I'm brave enough to go to Israel, or I don't know if I'm brave enough to wear my Jewish star, or I don't know if I'm brave enough to do whatever it is you've been scared to do. I challenge you to think of those 18-year-olds and what they're protecting for the Jewish people. And hopefully that can motivate you. I found that to be motivating.
מישהו אמר שהעולם עולם קטן. Somebody came up here and said the world is a small world. מישהו מכיר את עליזה דנינו? Okay, היא הייתה בבית שלנו כמה פעמים. Aliza Danino from Ofakim was in our house a couple of times. We went to Ofakim, to Merchavim, I don't remember if we were at Gilat, I don't remember. Patish maybe we were at, I don't remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Small world. Part of what I have trouble talking about with people who are in Caldwell are how close things are. Mufid said that his village, Khurfesh, is 2 kilometers from the Lebanon border. Now, I don't think in terms of kilometers. Let's see, 2 kilometers is like Verona, right? It's Verona, the Verona diner from here is 2 kilometers. How many missiles were coming across the border? Thousands of missiles are being shot to my house from Verona. Okay, what about Kibbutz Erez? We were privileged to go. There's a lovely lookout. You can go at Kibbutz Erez, you kind of climb up the hill, and you look and you say, see that? It's Gaza. Now, Kibbutz Erez is less than 1 kilometer. Well, less than 1 kilometer is about ShopRite, right? It's ShopRite from here. So this is my house, and attackers are coming from ShopRite and coming up here. And that's what I try to say to people. We say things like, I come back and people say, did you go down south? And it sounds like, yeah, we took a trip to like Jacksonville. I mean, that's down south. We were stationed in Jerusalem. Yeah, we went down south. We went to Nachal Oz. We went to Kibbutz Zikim, right near. It was about, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes drive. Let's see, where can I get to in an hour and 20 minutes from here? Princeton. Princeton, that's down south. Did we go down south? How far is it to get from Jerusalem maybe to Khorfesh? 2 hours maybe by car? Let's see, 2 hours by car. Albany's a little farther than that, but are you getting... This is what I'm trying to say to people, how small things are. And if rockets are coming at you, they're coming at you from ShopRite, from Livingston, from Verona. It's pretty small. Thanks.
I think that's a good note to close on. Yes, bevakasha. I guess not a good note. No, bevakasha.
Just another thing that I want to say. While we're speaking, there is 134 hostages in the Hamas. We don't know. They don't have lights or food, or we don't know about them if they live or not, if they're dead. What they do to him, to her, the children, the woman. Please speak it loud. Don't forget them. Talk about them every day, every night. In the media, I don't know, till they come home. Please.
I think we'll say Shabbat Shalom to everyone, and thank you for staying to listen. If you want, our guests are going to stay a little bit. If you want to come and greet them, wish them well, ask them questions. But everyone, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for coming today. Shabbat Shalom. Toda rabah.